Good morning, friends. This is Vishal. I am from the Department of English, MS University of Baroda, and today we are going to discuss poetic drama and the art of T.S. Eliot. So, are you ready to discuss one of the most celebrated poets and critics of 20th century? So, let us see. Yeah. So, today's outline of today's lecture is will roughly dealing with reading literature and drama. What is poetic and verse drama? We'll talk about the nature of poetic and verse drama, and Eliot's art of poetic and verse drama. And lastly, we'll take an example how Murder in the Cathedral is an example of verse drama, and we'll see various nuances. Due to lack of time, we could only focus on this murder in the cathedral. Yeah, so the first question that comes to our mind is drama a literary art or a representational art? I mean, there are so many dramas that we study as part of our syllabus, we read, but it is always interesting to ask whether it falls under literary studies or dramatics, or what do we actually look for as students of literature? Are we looking at its theatrical performance or its literary value? Because, for example, we study Shakespeare or we study George Bernard Shaw, but we might not watch its performance, we might not enact ourselves. But the question is, will this affect our reading, the way we interpret the play, or not? I mean, that is how we'll try to interact in our discussion, that how drama as a representational art and a literary art is in one or the other way different, and we as students of literature should focus on particular elements of drama rather than the from the perspective of representational art. Yeah, so it is this kind of triangle that we have to understand, because when we talk about literature in very broad literature is very broad category, we have to talk about prose, poetry and drama. Now here I would like you to focus on this interrelationship between these three, because on one hand we have prose that we also find in drama, and on the other hand we have poetry that we also find in drama. So we have apparently two types of drama, one is prosaic and the other is poetic drama. Now see these elements, because that's where we as students of literature are more interested. For example, see, drama as performance is acted, or it's an interactive medium, whereas fiction or let's say novel or story is something that you read or something which is narrated. Secondly, drama is direct presentation of imaginative reality. There is on the stage you see a presentation, whereas when we read a novel, it's indirect, that is purely linguistic presentation of reality, and that is why perhaps Emerson said that novel is a pocket theatre. So when you actually read novel, you start imagining the enactment of novel in your mind. So I mean, that's how it is a kind of indirect presentation of reality. Thirdly, in drama, meaning is experienced. I mean, when you watch a particular drama, parallelly you are experiencing the meaning rather than text based understanding, wherein in novel we try to understand the meaning, we try to, but see the common element in both the genres. Interpretation is the common, means a drama is open for multiple interpretation, same is novel or story, or let's say poem for that matter, is open for multiple interpretations. So that's where the common elements is textuality. Fourth is, text is in drama, text is primarily read as script for performance. So dear friends, please focus here, it is primarily a script for performance rather than just being read. On the other hand, novel or text is primarily read as text, there is no scope for performance as such. So when you read dialogues of drama with all its pitch, intonation, rhythm, you will get a different feel. Now that's why you might have observed your teachers, while reading the plays, a certain kind of acting or certain kind of variations in voice modulations, and that's how I think we try to get or try to be into that atmosphere of drama and try to feel that effect. and that's where the aesthetic experience comes to us. So for that you have to read each and every drama primarily as script for performance, as if you are going to enact it, as if you are going to stage the play. And lastly, drama tells as well as it shows, whereas our novel or story, it just tells us. It's like our stories that our grandmother or grandfather, they used to tell us in our childhood. There's this constant narration is going on, where in drama we can see a spectacle wherein we can, something happening is there. I think that's where the word drama comes from, a Greek word which means things done. It's a finished product, so something that has happened already. So you have to just watch it and you have to experience it. Let us see. Yeah. Now, what is poetic or verse drama? I think first we have to concentrate on this adjective called poetic. Is poetic same in our understanding of poetry as in drama also? I think let's see. Poetic drama is a blending of the poetic and dramatic elements in a fruitful union. It has to be a fruitful union, a kind of wonderful blending, a kind of mixture of both the things. It's not only just poetic elements overlapping drama, or it's not drama that is just gabbling all the poetic elements. It's just a fruitful union. That's why this word fruitful union is very necessary. Secondly, here poetry is an integral part of the play. Remember this integral part of the play. It is not something very separate, something which is superficially added. It is something very much part of the play, as plot is part of the play, as characters are part and parcels of the play, as setting, as stage property, as lights, sounds, all are parts of the play, a kind of organic play. So we have to look at poetry as the integral part of the play and how it is tuned with the plot. Remember this in verse drama, this verse or this poetry should get tuned with the plot. It should not be a kind of mismatch, a kind of discrepancy between plot is going somewhere else and poetry is going somewhere else. By this I mean plot may be highly complex, or let's say thematically it would be presenting something really grand, something splendor, and poetry should not be something very ordinary or minimal. We will talk about this metrical aspect of poetry and its thematic significance also, and how the characters and their interplay, and it should not be included as an element isolated beauty or lyricism for its own sake. So sometimes people believe that okay, poetry is just art for art's sake, it has nothing to do with life. Here it has so many things to do with drama, because it is not just drama but a poetic drama or a verse drama. Let's see further various elements. Before talking about elements, it is very necessary to ask a question: why poetic drama? Because remember, in early 20th century we already had dramatists like Henry Ibsen, like George Bernard Shaw, like John Galsworthy. All of them were there and they were writing fantastically. They were writing very theatrical as well as in literary world also successful plays like A Doll's House, Saint John. Now, all the plays were great success. But then why there is need to evolve a kind of new genre of called poetic drama? No, we have to also think about the historical development of poetic drama from its roots in ancient Greek literature to English literature, Renaissance, and then 17th century, 18th century, and then while coming to 20th century we come to realize that poetic drama, especially in English, came as a reaction to extremely realistic dramas of Ibsen, Shaw, and Galsworthy. Remember, Eliot opposes the photographic record of time in life. Now, though we might argue that realistic drama has its own value, its own significance, its own appeal to a different class of audience, but here the issue is when realism is excessive, when playwright and dramatists are obsessed, they are so much possessive about this whole idea of realism, then I think we need to think ahead. I think that is how all new genres come into existence, by so much of experimentation, by new sensibility, by new sensitive being or new sensitive experiences of human beings. That's where I think Eliot has a very significant role in the overall development of drama, and especially verse drama, because see, verse drama, it's called revival of verse drama. So there has always been verse drama, but not on a very popular kind of stage. Not everybody liked, or they were interested, or inavailability of verse drama was prevailing. Eliot and others came and they tried to revive it, and as a reaction to those extremely realistic dramas. So I think we need to also talk about the historical background of why this verse drama came into existence. Now at the same time, the dramatic element must be capable of sustaining the poetic grace and intensity. Yes, students, I mean, focus here, because very interesting point is, on one hand we say it is poetic drama, it should be with full of poetic elements, flowery language, imagery, symbols, a kind of singing of poetry, but then it should not overlap drama. A drama should carry it. It should be capable to sustain the poetic elements, the poetic value, or what we call the overall aesthetic impact or effect of that particular dialogues in drama. And it means its themes and characters should be poetically convinced and should be larger than the average humanity and monotony of daily life, the passions and emotions. So why do poets use verse in drama? Just to uplift themselves, just to uplift human experience from the ordinary mundane life, monotony. When the 20th century is known for those catastrophic events that occurred, and that somewhere disturbed our being, our psyche, okay, wherein we were highly disturbed. I mean, human being during that time of highly disturbed. So there was some need to uplift that, and I think poetry has always been a great tool for not only enjoyment but to a kind of rescue from this mundane and this boring life. So I think that is one of the reasons why verse drama got popularity in early 20th century, because we have to talk about the World War, the Holocaust in West, because that's where it get its impact, or it gets its results from, right? Okay, let's see further. So when I say fruitful union, it is actually the poeticity and dramaturgy. So poeticity plus dramaturgy is equal to poetic drama, and here when I say poeticity, it means all that is related to poetry and aesthetics. It may be symbols, images, meter, versification, it could be blank verse, heroic couplet, whatever it is related to poems and poetry and poets. And secondly, dramaturgy, again whatever is related to drama in terms of their theatrical performance, in terms of script writing, in terms of lights, in terms of other stage properties. The combination of all of these elements would lead or should lead us to a fruitful union, and that is how the success of a verse drama depends largely on the wonderful blending of these two elements, poeticity and dramaturgy, into poetic drama. Now let us see, as I said, this very adjective poetic and prosaic, they are very interesting to note here, the difference between prose and poetic drama. I think we have got two critics to comment upon it. This first is Abercrombie. He says in his essay The Function of Poetry, he says the function of poetry drama, he says poetic drama deals with core of life, and that is in life intensified, whereas prose drama is confined to the external shell of reality. So I think here is the difference between what Shaw, Ibsen and Galsworthy did, and what Eliot and the other people, Fry, they are doing. For example, they are focusing more on the internal side of human being. Our all experiences that perhaps may not find space in prose. See, prose is very flat, a kind of a journey, a very flat expression, whereas poetry is rhythmic. I think that's why I remember Paul Valery, he said prose is like walking, whereas poetry is like dancing. I mean, you could easily relate it to what the difference between prosaic drama and poetic drama. So prosaic drama deals with the realism, the highly realistic situations of our life. For example, social conflicts, man versus society, man versus man. But here I guess it is rather the other forces, like as we are going to talk about Murder in the Cathedral, the other forces, for example spiritual forces, whether political forces. So time and again we are confused, we are grappling with our own self, how to get away with it, how to find solutions. And I guess poetry becomes a medium to carry us that complications and help us in carrying forward this kind of perplexed mindset. And here we have somebody, our very own W.B. Yeats, in his essay called The Tragic Theatre. He says, the prose play is an image of the common mundane existence as distinguished from the larger life of poetry, where human nature escapes the limits of time and space. So I guess, I mean, it is much clear now that prose has to do with situations, various situations of life, whereas poetry is something very above. It has a larger scope, larger span, or we can say it is telescopic view of life. Poetry has a telescopic view of life, and it tries to locate life in that particular framework, and it transcends, it goes beyond our limited understanding of time and space. For example, then and there. For example, if you read Henry Ibsen's A Doll's House, you will find it is about a couple who is trying to solve their personal life in one particular